All right, are all parties ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's bring the jurors in.
All rise for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, State, call your next witness, please.
The state calls Sergeant Trace Shannon.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Just make sure you keep your voice up so that everyone can hear. State, you may proceed.
Sergeant Shannon, how are you currently employed?
With the Bear County Sheriff's Office,
And how long have you been employed with the Bear County Sheriff's Office?
total of 24 years.
Can you please explain to the jury, your career or your travel, the path of your career throughout the Sheriff's Office, please?
I started in 1996 with the Sheriff's Office in detention. I left in 1999, where I went to the Northeast ISD PD School District. Served there as a patrolman, campus officer, and sergeant. I came back in 2006 to the Bear County Sheriff's Office, where I served a short stint as a patrolman, and then went to Traffic DWI Task Force for about 7 years. I left there in 2014, did about a couple of years, or actually a year and a half on patrol, and then promoted in 2016 to investigator. From there, I went into traffic investigations and was a traffic investigator till 2022, where I promoted as a sergeant and stayed in traffic homicide as a sergeant until July of this year.
Okay, and then currently, what's your title and assignment with the Sheriff's Office?
Currently, I'm in administration and under the building and air wing.
Okay. Are you a certified peace officer in the state of Texas?
Yes, I am.
And can you just describe to the jury the training that you've underwent in your career regarding just becoming a deputy with the Sheriff's Office?
We go through, as a police officer, we go through your basic crash investigation. When I went into the DWI task force, several years in, I went into intermediate collision investigation, and a few years from there, advanced collision investigation. When I promoted to investigator, I went through collision reconstruction and auto pedestrian reconstruction. From there, I also went through what we call crutch analysis. And then I also picked up a certification as a airbag control module technician, where we image airbag control modules. I also have a certification of airbag control module analyst, and for a brief time was a trainer.
Now, the training that you just described is not considered specialized crash training.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in your time, as you described with the DWI unit and being in traffic investigations and traffic homicide specifically, about how many fatality crash cases have you worked?
From the time I had started in traffic 16 years ago, I've probably worked anywhere from 200 to 500 fatality crashes.
Okay, and that would all be in Bear County, Texas, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, were you employed as a investigator with the Bear County Sheriff's Office assigned to the traffic unit between the dates of January 25th, 2022 and March 1st of 2022?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And what was your title and assignment on that day?
I was an investigator with the traffic homicide unit.
And were you assigned to do follow-up investigation on a case or call that came out on that day?
Yes, myself and another investigator.
Okay, do you recall what that investigator's name was?
Curtis Calendar.
Do you know if there is a case number that would have been assigned to this call that you all worked?
Yes, I believe it's 2022 BCSO 001585.
That is correct, okay. And so working that, after you were assigned to that call, did you go out to the scene?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And, do you recall why you were dispatched there?
We were actually heard the crash come out and we were monitoring it. I believe it came out just after close to 3:15, 3:30. And I want to say we made it there within the hour, probably less than an hour, just after 4.
Okay, and what type of crash was this, do you know?
It was a fatality crash involving 2 vehicles.
And where is the scene located?
12,500 block of Highway 181 South.
And what type of location is?
It's a US highway. It's typically right there. There's no residential, it's business.
And does a substantial amount of the public have access to that highway there?
Yes,
And it's located in Bear County, Texas?
yes, ma'am.
Now, upon arrival at the scene, what did you do?
Upon arrival, we typically walk the scene with the responding sergeant, the traffic sergeant, and kind of look over the roadway evidence so that we can determine where an area of impact is. And then what all roadway evidence we have. We mark like skid marks and tire marks because typically your skid marks and tire marks are created by the friction between the tires and the roadway, and it brings that friction brings the actual oil from the roadway up to the surface. And so after time, those marks can dissipate. So we try to mark those as quick as we can.
Okay. And so did you identify any roadway evidence on this scene specifically?
Yes, we had skid marks in excess of 100 feet that appeared to be from the Cadillac. And then we had an area of impact that we determined.
Okay. And how do you document this evidence?
Typically, we use a bright green spray paint to mark this so that if we do have to come back or if the roadway evidence dissipates, we get as much of that evidence as we can from the time we get out there. Where the vehicles come to rest, we mark their tires so we know the placement of the vehicles at rest. And of course, like I said, the tire marks and skid marks.
Okay. And you said that the skid mark is caused by the friction between the tire and the roadway, is that correct?
Correct.
And what causes that friction between the tire and roadway?
When brakes are applied or if a vehicle loses control and skids sideways, any friction that contact with the roadway from the tires, that friction between the two surfaces causes that heat that actually brings all the oils in the roadway to the surface.
Okay. And so after you did this, were you able to observe the motor vehicles that were involved in the crash?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall what type of motor vehicle they were?
I believe it was a 2013 Cadillac SRX SUV. And the other one was 2018 Chevy Traverse, Equinox, black in color. And I believe the Cadillac was gold or silver.
Okay,
Silver.
thank you. And do you recall or observing any damage to that silver Cadillac and or black Chevy Equinox?
Yes, the silver Cadillac had extensive front end damage. And that actually the metal from the bottom hit the ground, and that's what assisted us in establishing an area of impact. The Chevy had extensive driver's side damage, and it had some I believe it was passenger side rear damage as a result of hitting the cables, the separation cables of the highway.
Okay. And did you do any mapping out there while you were on the scene?
Yes, we utilize an instrument called the Leica MS-60, which is typically survey equipment, and we forensically map the roadway itself, the placement of the skid marks, tire marks, and the vehicles themselves.
Okay. And can you just explain to the jury just briefly how that process is done?
So that process, we take the instrument itself, we set it on a tripod, and we have to level it out. It's, so to speak, like a triangulation. So that takes a spot on the ground below the instrument itself. The instrument then shoots out a laser that hits a 360 prism that the instrument tracks. And that's how we can forensically and detail the points and lines of the roadway, the cars, and the roadway evidence.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as exhibit number 20. If you can take a look at this for me. Do you recognize that?
Yes, those are my initials.
Okay, and have you viewed the contents of this disc?
Yes, I have.
And does it contain 123 crime scene photos that were taken on the date of the offense?
Yes, it does.
And did they appear to be fair and accurate depictions of the scene as you observed them on the offense date?
Yes.
At this time, the state offers this exhibit number 20 and offers the same to defense for inspection.
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit 20 is admitted without objection. Granted.
Okay. Investigator Shannon, can you see what is depicted on the screen before you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and can you describe to the jury what they're viewing?
This appears to be the crime scene facing out towards let's see, north. That would be like a northeast direction.
Okay.
It's prior to the actual crash starting.
And if it's easier to watch on the back screen, you can see it on the back.
Yes,
screen.
ma'am.
And what about this photo?
That is the roadway shooting towards the side of the road.
Okay. And this one?
Again, that's to the about the northeast or closer to north of the roadway.
What is depicted in this photo?
That is the restaurant that lies just northeast of the crash scene.
And in this photo?
And that is a scene, that's a crash or a picture of the actual crash scene itself at a distance.
And I guess these photos that I'm gonna click through, are they just kind of orienting the crime scene?
Yes, they're leading up to the actual crime scene from a distance.
And so in this photo, which is labeled as 0011, can you explain to the jury what they are doing?
So this is where we had marked the actual skid marks from the brakes of the Cadillac. You can see the dots where they start with the they're probably I don't know, a foot and a half apart. And we were marking the skid marks from the Cadillac before they started dissipating.
Is that showing the same thing?
Yes,
And is that still showing the skid marks?
yes,
And is that going toward the area of impact, is that correct?
yes, it is. And then here the back tires and the front tires actually separate a little bit, which is why it gives us 4 skid marks instead of 2.
Okay. And are these just more photos of the skid marks?
Yes, they are, leading up to the area of impact and beyond.
And so in this photo that's labeled as 0050, we see something written on the highway. What does that stand for?
AOI, it means area of impact.
Okay, and what does that mean?
So typically we use area of impact because both vehicles that collided, gave way. If it was a point of impact, there would be something solid that would not move. And so therefore, if say the vehicle hit a solid wall that's not going to move, then that would be a point of impact. Here, we can't say exactly the actual point of impact, so we use an area of impact.
And in this photo, we can kind of see the painting is kind of intersecting with each other. Can you explain to the jury what they're viewing right here?
So after impact, the vehicles, you have one that's actually moving sideways and the tires are causing a mark that way, and you still have skid marks from the initial vehicle, the vehicle that was traveling on the roadway.
And is this photo taken from the parking lot of Candela's Mexican restaurant facing away from the area of impact?
Yes,
And is that the same thing depicted there?
yes.
And so when we see these intersecting skid marks, this skid mark that's curving, is that indicating the black vehicle is turning into its final resting position as we see it in this photo labeled 0081?
It's actually rotating, and at some point the vehicles disconnected and went separate ways in the same direction, but they ended up in separate locations.
Okay, and then this skid mark that's continuing straight, that's that silver Cadillac proceeding through that black vehicle.
Correct. If you can see on the right side skid mark that travels up towards the Cadillac itself, it appears if you go a couple of photos back. One more. You can see how it's darker on the outsides. That's indicative of a tire being flattened. And so it's riding on the actual rim, and the outside of the tire is actually creating that mark.
Okay, thank you. And what is depicted in this photo, labeled 0094?
It looks to be debris from the Cadillac.
Okay. And in 0095, is that just vehicle part debris?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and can you tell me, what these markings mean that we're currently seeing in the photo labeled 0112?
Yes, so as I said, we do mark the vehicles when they come to rest. So the rear shows the rear marking with an R. On the left side, facing it, it's left rear, and then the other side should be right rear.
Okay, and this is just indicating the final resting place, is that correct?
Yes, it's in line with the outside of the tire and the actual axle.
And what is this marking here?
The same, it's just indicating the left front tire.
And what is depicted in this photo labeled 0124?
So that is the front of the Cadillac, and you can see the rear to the right of the Chevy. Right there, we've marked both the front tires of the Cadillac and the front with a triangle and an F.
Okay, and is that showing the front end damage that you described to the silver Cadillac?
Yes.
And in this photo labeled 0133, are those the same markings for the right front tire and the right rear tire?
Yes, I believe typically the traffic safety unit that showed up first, they marked the vehicles, and then we marked the rest of the roadway.
And is there anything significant regarding the right front tire here depicted in 0135?
You can see that it's flattened.
And so here we see something labeled on the ground and the photo labeled 0148. Can you explain to the jury what that is?
That is area of impact 2. So that's when the Chevy vehicle actually rotated, it started going backwards and it collided with this cable mount, for lack of better words. And that's what caused the damage to the rear of the Chevy.
And can you explain to the jury what is depicted in this photo labeled 0160?
That is the black Chevy Equinox, the decedent's vehicle, and it's covered by a tarp to cover up the decedent.
In this photo that's labeled 0161, we observed a defect in the windshield in your training and experience. Do you know what would cause this?
Typically, the impact on the driver's side, that window is forced to one side, and so it's got to give way somewhere. Typically, the windows will break if they're hit on one side or the other.
And in this photo labeled 0164, were the tires marked in the same manner out of the silver Cadillac for the black Equinox?
Yes, they were. In this one, you can actually see that the tire came off of the rim, and that's due to the fact of the collision, and the vehicle was forced in the opposite direction.
And on this photo labeled 0173, we see a yellow object. Do you know what that is?
That is to cover up the decedent.
And in this photo labeled 0182, is there anything significant about the left or rear tire of the black Equinox?
It's just the actual wheel broke as a result of the severity of the collision.
And in this photo 0187, is that just depicting what you earlier explained about the area of impact too?
Yes, correct.
And in this photo labeled 0226, is it taken from the area of impact, facing away from the area of impact?
Yes, I believe so.
And this photo 0254, is that a very accurate depiction of the decedent?
Yes, it is.
And that yellow tarp, do you know what that is?
The yellow tarp was placed there by first responders, more than likely either the EMS or fire department showed up.
Now that we've gone through the scene, what were the scope of your duties on scene besides documenting the roadway evidence and forensically mapping the scene?
I was actually in the midst of training Investigator Calendar. And while he was collecting statements and video evidence, I was actually forensically mapping the scene and also the actual roadway evidence, marking it.
Okay. And was there evidence that you believed you needed to be examined that couldn't be seized from there on the scene?
Yes, of course, in any crash, we want to obtain the data from the airbag control modules on board each vehicle.
Okay. And so after everything was concluded at the scene on that date of January 25th, on January 27th of 2022, well, where was the vehicle taken from the scene? That black Chevy and the silver Cadillac, where were they taken from the scene on the 25th?
Typically, if it's close by, we'll take it to our long-term storage at 14895 Dunlop Road, where we keep all of our evidentiary vehicles. There are certain circumstances where Texas Towing will take them to their yard and then later put them out at our long-term.
All right. And that long-term storage facility, is that like a secure location?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And so on January 27th of 2022, did you go out to that secure location to conduct an examination of the vehicles?
Yes.
And do you know who was the owner of the silver Cadillac SUV?
I believe it was the grandparents of I'm not too sure on the name.
Okay. And so under what authority did the search occur to take that data from the silver Cadillac?
It was consent of the actual owner of the vehicle, and he was there on scene with us.
Okay.
That way he had an opportunity to withdraw his consent at any time.
And can you just explain to the jury, I guess you kind of went over it earlier, but regarding this airbag control module, you received a certificate in being a technician and an analyst, is that correct?
Yes.
And was that through the Collision Safety Institute?
Yes, it was.
And so can you just explain to the jury what the airbag control module is?
So the airbag control module is a module on your vehicle that's hooked to the rest of the computer system. In the event that you're involved in a crash, whether it be with another vehicle, another object, what have you, there's a threshold that has to be met in order for your airbag module to be, or the algorithm on your airbag module to be awoken and to record an event. Typically, that is 5 miles an hour, 8 kilometers per hour. Beyond that, typically, if you reach a 10-mile-an-hour threshold, that's when the airbags will deploy and your pretensioners will fire off. Your pretensioners, if you've ever been driving and you kind of lean forward and then it locks you into place, that's your pretensioner holding you. In the actual collision where the airbags are deployed, those are also fired off and it sucks you back into your seat and keeps you from going forward.
Okay. And now, can you explain to the jury how you were able to obtain this data from the vehicle and get it in a format that you're able to read it?
Yes, in addition to that being fired off, there's data that's recorded. It's pre-crash data that will provide us anywhere, depending on the manufacturer and the make and model, speed, accelerator, steering input, what have you. So that's what we're looking for on that actual airbag control module. If you've ever had your lights go off on your dash or what have you and have a mechanic look at your vehicle, they plug into a port that typically we call an OBD2 port. That's also called in the collision world a DLC, direct line to the computer. And so we use a cable to plug into that. We make sure that the vehicle has power, whether it be through the battery, or if we no longer have battery power, we'll hook a jumper cable up to it, or jumper cables, or a battery box, so that we can provide power, so that we can image the data on that module and make a copy of it, basically. So therefore, I hooked up the cable. There's a interface called a Bosch CAN Plus, and we utilize what's called the Bosch CDR tool, which is a software that images that data. Once we've hooked up all the prior connections and make sure it has power, it'll show us on that software that you do have a connection, and it goes through a 3-stage process to image the data on that module.
Okay. And just CDR, does that stand for crash data retrieval?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and so did you do that in this case?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And in your training and experience and all the investigations that you conducted, have you found this method to be reliable and valid?
Yes, as long as the reports show that they have a complete image.
Okay, and is this widely used amongst the law enforcement field?
Yes.
Now I want to talk to you about the silver Cadillac specifically.
And so I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit C, just for identification purposes only. Can you please take a look at that and tell me if that's a fair and accurate depiction of the data that was extracted from that silver Cadillac?
Yes.
Okay. Now, regarding the data that was extracted,
How was the session completed for, or was an event recorded for the silver Cadillac?
Yes, it was. Typically, it does show an event, and then we want to make sure that that event is to the crash in question. Because an airbag control module can actually be involved in more than one collision and record more than one collision. And it keeps a history of that.
Okay. And how was the session concluded?
So once we attain the image off the airbag control module, then the raw data is actually through the software itself is basically put into a PDF form so that we can read it and analyze it and determine the pre-crash data on the actual vehicle itself.
Okay. And was this the direct to DLC access that you used to gain the data?
Yes, this one was direct to access, so it was through what we consider the OBD2 port.
Okay. Did you have to use any additional power ups?
Yes, on this one, there was a battery jump box utilized. And we notated that the driver side curtain, driver front airbag, driver side pretensioner, passenger side curtain, were all deployed.
Okay. And so if we look at page 4 of the report, can you tell me about the ignition cycles at the time of download?
So the ignition cycles, and this is typically how we know that this crash goes to the actual crash in question. The ignition cycles are 16,531. And those are recorded throughout the life of your vehicle.
And if we turn to page 5, are you able to tell us of the complete file recovered from this silver Cadillac?
Yes, it was.
And what was the ignition cycle at the crash? If you,
16,531.
okay, and so that's kind of how you said you are able to confirm that is the correct event.
Yes, ma'am.
What was the safety belt status of the driver of the silver Cadillac?
It was buckled.
And then what is the maximum delta V longitude?
So the maximum delta V longitude is whether it records the delta V is a change in velocity, so a change in speed. So if you're traveling 50 miles an hour and you all of a sudden hit something and you drop down to 40 miles an hour, then that records in milliseconds the amount of speed that you changed in that certain set of milliseconds.
Okay. And regarding the maximum delta V longitudinal in this case, what was the number that was assigned to that?
It was a -37. So a positive number indicates to me that a vehicle was hit from behind. So it's a front to a rear to front collision, and a negative indicates that it's a front to rear collision. So it shows me that the collision that took place with this vehicle was at the front of the vehicle.
Okay, and in your training and experience, between what numbers is fatal?
Usually 23 to 24, -23 to 24 is fatal.
Okay, and you said in this case it was a -37?
-37, yes.
And so if we look at the pre-crash data, is it typically just 5 seconds before?
It's typically depending on manufacturer. There are manufacturers that go beyond that.
Okay. In this case, was it 5 seconds or more?
This particular was actually 5 seconds and half-second intervals.
Okay. And so I want to talk to you about that. So at the 5 second mark, are you able to tell if the accelerator was on or off?
The accelerator was being depressed at 55%, so about halfway down.
And does it tell you if the service brake was on?
It shows that it was off.
Okay, and what was the engine throttle at 5 second mark?
Engine throttle was at 47%,
And what was the speed that was indicated at the 5 seconds?
104 miles an hour.
At 4.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percent?
It's still at 55.
And what about the service brake?
The service brake was off and the throttle increased to 48.
Okay, and then what was the speed at the?
Still 104,
I didn't hear that.
still 104.
At 4 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal?
57,
And what about the service brake?
service brake is still off.
And the throttle
49,
and the speed?
still 104.
At 3.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
58%, so it's increasing.
Was the service brake on or off?
It was off.
And what about the engine throttle?
49%,
And what about the speed?
still 104.
At 3 seconds, prior to impact, what was the accelerator pedal percent?
57%,
Was the service brake on or off?
the service brake was off.
What was the engine throttle?
47,
And what was the speed?
104 miles an hour.
At 2.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percent?
56,
Was the service brake on or off?
it was off.
What about the engine throttle?
Engine throttle was at 47,
And what was the speed?
still 104.
At 2 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
It was actually at 0, so the accelerator had been let off.
Okay, and was the brake on or off at this point?
It was on at 2 seconds.
Okay, and so what was the throttle at this point?
It came down to 36,
And what was the speed?
still 104.
1.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
0,
And what about the service brake?
still on.
What about the engine throttle?
It decreased to 29,
And what was the speed?
100.
At 1 second prior to impact, the accelerator pedal, what was the percentage?
0,
Was the service brake on or off?
it was on.
What was the engine throttle?
27,
And what was the speed?
90,
And then at 5 seconds, what was the accelerator, 0.5 seconds, excuse me. What was the accelerator pedal percentage?
0,
The service brake,
it's on.
the engine throttle,
21,
and then the speed.
21 miles an hour.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about the Chevys. Did you also extract the airbag control model from that black Chevy?
Yes, I did.
And so I'm gonna show you. Exhibit D,
which is marked for identification purposes. Can you take a look at that and tell me if that's a fair and accurate depiction of the data that you received relating to the black Chevy Equinox?
Yes, it is.
okay. And so if we look at that data. Can you tell me, was an event reported?
Yes, there was actually,
Just that event number 2, was that recorded?
yes,
Okay, and when we look at the inspection, was that also at the Donald Road location?
yes,
Okay. On this one, did you do the same direct to DLC access method?
yes, and the battery was still available as far as power goes.
Okay. And looking at the ignition cycles. Give me just a second. I believe it's reflected on page 17 of that report. Can you tell me the ignition cycles at the time of the event?
The event, ignition cycles was 5,371.
Okay. And what was the status of the driver of the vehicle?
He was buckled.
Okay. And then what about the maximum delta V longitudinal for the black Chevy?
On longitudinal, it was a 22 positive, which tells me that there was an impact on the rear. And then on the lateral, which is side to side, it's a positive 38, which tells me that that is a driver's side to passenger side impact. So it impacted on the left side of the vehicle.
Okay, thank you. And then if we skip to page 28 of that report, Were you able to obtain the 5 seconds of data for the black Chevy as well? The 5 seconds of the pre-crash data.
Yes,
Okay, and so, and looking at that, at the 5 second mark on the black Chevy prior to impact, was the accelerator pedal percentage, what was that?
12%.
Was the brake on or off?
It was off.
And what was the engine throttle?
31.
And what was the speed it indicated?
4.
For 4.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
0.
What about the engine throttle?
20.
Was the brake on or off?
It was off.
And then what was the speed?
5.
For 4 seconds, the accelerator pedal percentage, what was that?
25%.
Was the brake on or off?
It was off.
What was the engine throttle?
33.
And what was the speed?
6.
For 3.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
33%.
Was the service brake on or off?
Off.
What was the engine throttle?
73.
And what was the speed?
8 miles an hour.
For 3 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
27.
Was the service brake on or off?
Off.
What was the engine throttle?
74.
And what was the speed?
11 miles per hour.
For 2.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
15.
And the engine throttle?
It is 40.
Was the brake on or off?
Off.
And what was the speed?
It was 13.
At the 2 second mark, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
0.
Was the service brake on or off?
Off.
What was the engine throttle?
25.
And what was the speed?
14 miles an hour.
For 1.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
0.
Was the service brake on or off?
Off.
What was the engine throttle?
21.
And what was the speed?
14 miles an hour.
And for 1 second, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
0.
Was the service brake on or off?
On.
And what was the engine throttle percentage?
16.
And what was the speed?
14 miles an hour.
And then for the 0.5 seconds, what was the accelerator pedal percentage?
0.
The service brake, was it on or off?
On.
The engine throttle, what was the percentage?
12.
And what was the speed?
12 miles an hour.
Okay, now regarding the data that was seized from that silver Cadillac. Are you able to conduct a mathematical analysis with the data that you received from the airbag control module?
Yes, I did a time and distance analysis.
Okay, and so what is that able to tell you?
So basically utilizing the forensic mapping that we already collected, and it establishes the actual roadway, its markings, the area of impact. I can take from that area of impact and conclude the distance that the Cadillac traveled throughout each speed interval, and take him from that area of impact all the way back where he was at the start of that 5 second pre-crash data.
Okay, and this formula, is it widely used and accepted in the field?
Yes,
And in your training and experience, have you found it to be valid and reliable?
yes,
Okay, and so did you do that analysis in this case?
yes, I did.
Do you recall what speeds or how many different analysis did you do?
I had to do one for each half second, which gives me a distance for each of those half second intervals, and then add each of those distances together to get a full distance that it traveled throughout those 5 seconds.
Okay, and so if we look at the data that you received from the airbag control module on the silver Cadillac, were you able, I guess, did you do a supplemental report of your findings when you did that math?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you what has been marked for identification purposes only as Safety Exhibit B.
Can you take a look at that for me?
Yes, it's the formulas that I utilized for each interval and the calculations to total.
Okay, and so earlier, I believe that you stated, before you get the distance, you have to do the speed to velocity, is that correct?
Correct. You have to take speed, convert it into velocity, and then you get you times it times velocity, and you get the distance.
Okay, and so in this case, what were your findings after taking the speed from the airback control module? Converting that speed to velocity and then doing the time and distance, how many feet did the silver Cadillac travel in that 5 seconds?
Traveled in that 5 seconds, 688 feet. It's 688.5994 feet.
Okay. And then did you also do an additional calculation at 70 miles per hour?
Yes, I did one at 70 and one at 65.
Okay, and were these, what were the calculations of 65 and 70? What was that based off of?
Just the 65 was the posted speed limit, and the 70 was to give benefit of the doubt that some people proceed over the speed limit at times.
Okay, and do you recall what the speed limit is out there on that stretch of US Highway 181?
65 miles an hour.
Okay, and so then that 70 miles per hour calculation that you did, that was a 5 miles per hour speed limit.
Yes, it was.
Now I'm gonna show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit F. Can you take a look at that and tell me if that is a fair and accurate depiction of the calculation you did at 65 miles per hour? For the time and distance.
Yes, it is.
And State's Exhibit G for identification purposes only, can you take a look at that and tell me if that's a fair and accurate depiction of the calculation you did for the 70 miles per hour?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and so on the 70 miles per hour, what was the calculation of a person that would have been traveling at 70 miles per hour? How much distance would they have traveled in the 5 minutes?
513 feet, 0.33,
I mean, and
or
that was
513.333 feet.
in 5 seconds, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then for State's Exhibit F, for the 65, what was the distance that would have been traveled by a person traveling 65 miles per hour in 5 seconds?
476.666 feet.
Okay, and so both of those are significantly lower than the raw data analysis that we did reflected in State's Exhibit E, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor,
Right.
leading.
What, the leading objection will be sustained.
Okay, so if we look at State's Exhibit State's Exhibit F, at the 65 miles per hour, that's 465 feet, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and so is that a higher or lower number than 688 feet?
lower.
Okay, and State's Exhibit G for 530 or 513 feet, is that higher or lower than 688 feet?
Lower.
Okay. And after you did these calculations,
I guess, let me talk to you, in your training and experience, just because there is a deceased victim such as Mr. Carlos Dominguez in this case, is there some type of obligation to file charges just because there's a dead body?
No,
Okay, and so, what is the evidence that led to the charges being filed in this case?
Objection, Your Honor, outside the scope of this
individual's personal knowledge who's not the district attorney's office.
All right, if you can re-ask your question, please.
Yeah. So in considering filing charges, what evidence did you consider?
So typically, and for us to come up with a charge, as far as filing charges, we have to meet elements. Typically, in a situation where we're looking at high speeds and stuff, we look at recklessness. And in recklessness, you have to either establish a three-prong as far as three traffic infractions that were committed, moving traffic violations, or a speed limit of 30 miles an hour or over.
Okay, and in this case, based on the data that you retrieved from that silver Cadillac, how much excess speed was it traveling in excess of the speed limit?
It was traveling 39 miles over the speed limit.
Okay, now regarding the distances that we just discussed, did you create a map that reflected your findings?
Yes, I utilized the data that we forensically mapped and created a scale diagram. And from that point, that area of impact, I established the distances that I came up with on my calculations and placed them on that map to show how far out from the area of impact the vehicle had was at 5 seconds back. And then I utilized the standard of 65 miles an hour and 70 miles an hour to create two other distances that I took from that 688 and brought it back in to show where that vehicle would have been had they been traveling 65 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour.
Now, I'm gonna share.
Sorry, just one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, do you need a short break? All right, you may continue.
I'm gonna show you what has been marked out as exhibit number 21. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the map that you just described, reflecting your findings?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and this is generated using the Leica system, is that correct?
Yes, the
Yeah.
Leica system and the software Map 360, Leica Map 360 software.
Okay, and Leica is the software that you use to forensically map this, is that correct?
Right.
This time I'm tendering to defense for inspection and offering suits exhibit number 21.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, state's exhibit number 21 is admitted without objection.
Permission to.
Granted.
And so I'm looking at state's exhibit number 21.
And you may step down if you need to step down.
Yes, ma'am.
And defense, you may move about.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And we see a red area indicated right here. What is that?
That is indicating the area of impact.
Okay, and this orange area that we see right here, what is that?
That is the distance of the 688 feet that the vehicle traveled in 5 seconds. So
Okay. And the blue area, what does that reflect?
the blue is the 70 miles an hour taken from that 688 feet mark and brought back in. That's the distance of the 513, I believe, at 70 miles an hour.
Okay, and then what about the green area?
The green is the distance I came up with at 65 miles an hour from that 688 foot mark. And I believe it was 476, I believe.
Okay,
Yes,
yes, and so a person that would have been traveling at 65 or 70 miles per hour would have been, how far behind would they have been? A significant amount or a short amount away from the area of impact?
the 70, I believe, was like 175 feet, and I believe the 65 was 200 something feet.
And so. Okay. And that was based off of the 5 second calculation, is that correct?
Correct.
And so
when that black Chevy started pulling out of the parking lot, how far away would that silver Cadillac have been from the area of impact?
688 feet.
Okay. And then was there any video evidence that was seized in this case?
There was, I believe, from the restaurant.
Okay, and did you seize that or investigator calendar?
Investigator calendar.
Okay, have you had an opportunity to view that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Was that video consistent with your findings?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on everything that you learned from the data and analysis that you conducted, what was the result of your investigation?
That had the silver Cadillac been traveling either the speed limit, at the speed limit would have missed, and the decedent wouldn't have had enough time to clear that intersection. At 70 miles an hour, he may not have cleared the intersection, but he may have been hit on the back end of his vehicle and still lived through the collision.
Okay. And speaking about, can you just tell the jury what the right of way to yield is?
The right of way is basically when, depending on where you're at on a roadway, if you have a stop sign and the other roadway doesn't have a stop sign, typically that roadway without the stop sign has the right of way. When you're crossing a intersection without lights, such as this one, the individual crossing that highway or towards that intersection has to yield the right of way to the oncoming traffic.
Okay, and so did you consider, or do you know in this case, who would have had the duty to yield?
The decedent.
Okay, is that Carlos Dominguez?
Yes.
Okay, and so, did you consider that in your analysis?
Yes.
Okay, and did that factor into, or what impact did it have on your analysis?
You said when the decedent started pulling out, the Cadillac was 688 feet away.
Okay. And so you were aware that Carlos Dominguez did have the duty to yield, you're aware of that. And based on the calculations that you've done, you still decided to file the case.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna show you what's been in evidence as exhibit number 2. If you're unable to see on the screen in front of you, feel free to turn around and see the screen. Were you able to observe the driving pattern of the black vehicle and as depicted in the state's exhibit?
Yes.
Did you find anything out of the ordinary about it?
No.
Okay. And then I guess, have you done regarding that driving pattern, you said it's not bizarre to you, is that correct?
No.
Okay, and so you also had an opportunity to view this video and you feel that it further confirms your findings, is that correct?
Yes.
We passed the witness turn.
Defense?
Yes. Your Honor, if I can. Just have a second to pull up that video. Can I have my screen?
Do you want to show him the exhibit again?
Yes, that one there. You were just supposed.
I'll play it for you.
It's okay. I'm gonna use my. This one. Oh, because of that. Hold on. Your Honor, just a second. We have a technical issue.
Sure. I mean, you can use this one. It's fine. Just, I don't move out of your way.
All right. So first, let me ask, you only did calculations for 5 seconds out, correct?
Correct.
And so, and you did that based off of the fact that your crash data goes 5 seconds.
Correct.
All right. So if your crash data had gone 7 seconds, you would have done all the 7.
Yes.
Would you agree with me that you didn't do any crash data based off of the point of entry in which the black Chevy enters the roadway?
Yes.
No. You only did it 5 seconds. When
Yes,
does it
you
enter
asked
the
me if I
roadway?
agreed, and I said yes.
No, did you do it? Would you agree that you didn't do it?
No, I didn't do it.
Okay, so I'm gonna back you up here and I'm at 0 seconds. This is the very start of this video. What object do you see on the roadway to the left of the black Chevy?
It appears to be an 18-wheeler.
Okay, and can you tell, per the crash data, did he have his brakes on? Did the black Chevy have the brakes on at 5 seconds?
No.
Okay, so at 5 seconds out, he's going, what, 2 miles an hour? About 4 miles an hour. Do you have it?
5 seconds out, he's at 4 miles an hour.
4 miles an hour, no brakes, already going, and there's an 18-wheeler that's about to pass in, correct?
Correct.
All right, now, you don't know what he was doing before this, do you?
No.
So, I'm gonna play it once through so that we have a stop point for the crash, and I want you to tell me when to stop, when the cars crash.
There.
Okay.
Before that.
All right. Right now, can you see on the screen that that's 5 seconds?
It looks to be 0.05.
Okay, so it's 5 seconds. So we have, for this particular video, we have that 5 seconds between the crash and the time, like whatever this black Chevy is doing in your crash data, correct?
Correct.
And your crash data also is able to tell you if the individual is turning the vehicle to the left or to the right.
This one does not provide steering input.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay, so the lateral. So when you talk like on page 22 of the Chevy, and it's talking about longitudinal acceleration, you can't see, is that just acceleration or is it also gonna be the degrees?
No, that's acceleration. It has nothing to do with the steering wheel.
And so nowhere in this data can you remap what the black Chevy did, correct?
As far as steering input, no.
Okay, and you would agree with me that you didn't map it at the scene either.
Map what?
Where his car was, how far it was away from the actual entry of the roadway, correct?
It was, we were unable to determine that.
Okay, so, we have photos though that show the line of like kind of the positioning of the whole parking lot, right? You took photos or someone took photos of the scene?
Correct.
Okay, and you see this, this is, I think it's maybe, if you'll, what is this right here? Do you think it's the?
Telephone pole?
Oh, okay. And so that is a visual marker that one could compare this video with those photos, and I'm backing it up just to see where we start. And you would agree with me that the black Chevy is already on the highway side of that telephone pole, correct?
It's on the highway side, but not in the highway.
Okay. And then you said that his data was that he's going 4 miles per hour right now, no brake lights, and no brake lights are, no brakes are indicated in the crash data, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, now we're at 1 second. He's not braked. And what is his speed at this point?
Well, you're going from the reverse, so if we're 1 second into the video, then he would be at 4 seconds.
Okay, what's his speed?
5 miles an hour, or I'm sorry, 6 miles an hour.
And he hasn't no brakes on, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, now would you agree where the video shows 2 seconds, so that would be 3 seconds to impact, correct?
Correct.
He's still not on the roadway. Is he on the roadway?
No.
Okay, he's still on the shoulder, correct?
Correct.
And in the parking lot.
Correct.
And this is 3 seconds. So, and what was the miles per hour at 3 seconds?
11.
11. And no brake and no blinker.
Correct.
Okay, now I'm at 30 seconds into the video. And you would agree with me that at this stage, his tires had just hit, not even past the fog line of the roadway, correct?
I would say his front tires are closer to the middle of the lane.
Okay, middle of the lane. How many lanes are there on the highway?
There are 2 lanes there.
Okay, and what lane was the silver Cadillac traveling in?
The inside lane.
Okay, the lane furthest away from the black Cadillac, correct? I mean, I'm sorry, from the black Chevy. So if he's traveling in the lane furthest away, you would agree with me that he, if he has gone into any lane, it's the lane that the Cadillac is not driving in.
Correct.
Okay, still no brakes, no blinker,
Correct.
so no pulse. Now we're at 4 seconds. And if you see right here, what is this white line in the roadway? Can you tell?
I don't know if that's a white line or the actual travel marks from the road.
Okay, so it's hard to tell from here.
Yes.
But does it look like he's entered even into the lane in which the silver Cadillac is traveling in?
It looks like, yes, the front of his vehicle is already entered into that lane.
Can you tell for sure?
I would say yes.
Okay. So at this point, what is the speed?
At 1 second out to speed is 14 miles an hour.
15 miles an hour, no brake, no blinker, no pulse.
It actually indicates that he is on the brake at
At
1
1
second
second?
out. Yes.
Okay, so he chose to stop.
I don't know that he chose to stop.
When someone presses the brake, do they intend to go?
I'm gonna object to speculation, Your Honor.
Sustained.
When someone presses the brake, what does the brake do to a car?
It either slows or comes to a stop depending on how far that brake is depressed.
Okay, and one of the things about this data, the crash data for the black Chevy, is that it only indicates if the brake is on or off, correct?
Correct. It doesn't say at what percentage.
Unlike the accelerator that shows how much it's pressed, like a percentage of from 0 to 100% of how far it can go.
Correct.
Now, if we back up Are you aware of how quickly a car can stop when it's going 14 miles an hour? How far would it go? If it was stopping?
How far would it go?
If it stopped, if it immediately pressed its brake with the intent of stopping, just like an emergency stop, how long would the car, how far would it go?
It depends on the grade of the surface that it's on, as far as the coefficient of friction on the surface.
Okay, did you do those calculations?
No,
All right. And so at this point, there's been, despite the fact that there's been testimony that this highway often has vehicles that go very fast on it, there's been not one indication prior to entering the roadway that he ever paused. Agreed?
yes,
You also, you didn't get this video. Are there other videos that are available at that location? Did you walk the facility to see if there was other video angles?
no, that was tasked for Investigator Calendar.
Okay. Now, because he doesn't have, the black Chevy does not have his blinker on, would you agree that's a traffic violation?
No,
He's turning onto a roadway and he doesn't need to have a blinker on to show others that. he's
crossing a
turning?
roadway.
Okay. Does he ever come to a 90-degree angle and stop before entering the roadway?
It doesn't appear so.
Okay, and you know, in regards to our vision of being able to see and check if anything is coming, if we're backing it up from the beginning, would you agree with me that his side mirrors and his rear view mirror will be facing back away? He would not be able to view any traffic because of the angle on the highway. He would not be able to view any traffic on that highway because in his rear view or his side mirrors.
I'm gonna object to speculation.
Sustained.
In your experience, do you often use your side mirrors?
Yes,
Okay, and you have experience understanding the angles that if you look in a mirror, what that field of vision would be, correct?
yes,
Okay, and so if a mirror is turned away from an object, can it reflect that object?
no,
And in this instance, where is the mirror turned toward the highway or away from the highway?
away from the highway.
Okay, and so, then your common sense would you say, would indicate that in your experience, these mirrors would not reflect the highway?
Judge, I'm gonna object us to invading the province of the jury, and it's still speculation. I mean, based on the video, I just.
All right. Um. So. Let me. There is a gentleman that has been with you today and yesterday at court who has gray hair that is with you. Who is that?
Me?
It's an officer. He was here yesterday when you testified and we spoke outside.
Are you speaking about the DA investigator?
Is that a DA investigator?
But
Yes,
that
ma'am.
jackass too, that's not an evidence and relevance.
Your
What
Honor,
is the relevance?
I'm trying to find out if it's his supervisor or who, like, if it's,
What's the relevancy?
I don't know if he is connected to this case or not. I'm trying to
Alright.
figure out who he is.
The objection will be sustained.
Okay. Now, have you ever heard of something called the Infotainment Center?
Yes,
Okay, and would you agree with me? It's a way that it's part of the computer system that maintains the data if you're using your cell phone in the car or other things in the car, correct?
if you have a provided service, yes.
Okay, or just if you use, like, most of our modern cars, you can hook up your cell phone to the car and you can talk on your cell phone
Yes,
in the car. And it uses your cell phone when you enter the car to allow you to speak to someone on the other end, correct?
yes, depending on manufacturer.
Okay, and did you pull the infotainment center data for this car?
No, I did not.
But it's possible to have been pulled, correct?
It's possible, but not by me.
Okay, because you're not trained in that?
No, I'm not.
Is that something that's available through Bear County Sheriff's Office though?
It is now.
Okay, and when did that come about?
I don't recall.
And do you still have access to that vehicle,
Yes,
the black Chevy?
yes.
Okay. And did you pull the phone records for Carlos Dominguez on this day?
No,
And did you look at or consider any other reports for that would indicate whether or not Carlos Dominguez was impaired that day?
no, I did not.
So you didn't review the autopsy report?
No, I was not the lead investigator on this case.
Okay, but did you say earlier that you were training the lead investigator?
Yes,
Okay, so did you not oversee his work?
I did not oversee a reviewing of the autopsy report. No, I did not.
Okay. All right, so you have no indication then, or no personal knowledge before you made your decision whether or not alcohol was involved,
No, I did not.
okay, or any kind of other over-the-counter prescriptions?
To my knowledge, if alcohol would have been involved, then Investigator Calendar would have advised me of it.
Okay, but the point is that you personally did not go and find out before you made your conclusion if any other indications would have explained some of the things that were going on with Carlos Dominguez.
No,
All right, now, did you take witness statements at all?
no, that was Investigator Calendar and possibly some of the either patrol or traffic deputies.
And let's talk about the interior of the vehicle. Would you agree with me that when you do accident reconstruction investigation, that you should take pictures of the inside of the vehicle as well?
On occasion,
Okay,
yes.
did you do it in this instance?
I was not, I don't take the photos. That is evidence. Deputy.
Okay. Do you know if anybody did?
I do not know.
All right. And so you cannot say, you didn't inventory the vehicle, Carlos Dominguez's vehicle,
No,
so you don't know if there was prescription medication in there?
no, I do not.
And then, in regards to. Oh, I apologize, let me go on this and just, okay. So we're now at 6 seconds in, and I want you to tell me how long it takes after this until you see the first vehicle come down Highway 181.
Right there.
Okay, and so at this point, it's 18 seconds. I may have cut it off too late, maybe it was 17 seconds, but somewhere between 17 and 18 seconds is the next vehicle behind to arrive at the scene in that lane of traffic behind the silver Cadillac, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so there weren't other vehicles around the silver Cadillac when the silver Cadillac was 5 seconds out, correct?
To my knowledge, no.
Based off of the fact that we don't see any traffic coming past, right?
They could have turned off the roadway also.
Okay. So I'm backing it up. All right, and the second car that crosses the screen is, would you agree with me, at 25 seconds?
Yes.
And the third and fourth start to come on the screen at 34 seconds.
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as defendants 4, 5, 6, and 7. And do you recognize the location of those photos?
Yes, it's right before well, in this photo, it's right before the restaurant in the area of impact.
And that's defendants exhibit 4, correct?
Yes,
And then defendants exhibit 5.
that appears to be from the actual crossover.
Okay, and when is that the intersection also of, is there a road that has a stop sign by the restaurant.
Yes, I believe it's Max Road.
Okay, so there's an actual road that someone could turn into from the restaurant to get a 90-degree stop to cross the road.
Correct.
Okay, and then that's defendant's exhibit 5, moving to defendant's exhibit 6. You recognize that?
Yes, it appears to be in the roadway facing back the other direction. In the inside lane, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then the defendant's exhibit 7.
And that appears to be from the inside lane of the side of the road that the collision was on, but facing the restaurant.
Thank you. Are these accurate? I mean, as far as location and like images, do you recognize them?
Yes,
And they kind of display or capture the area that you were investigating.
yes, they
correct?
depict the area.
Okay. At this time, I'm tendering defendants exhibit 4 through 7 and asking that they be admitted.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, defense exhibit 4, 5, 6, and 7 are admitted without objection.
No. Okay. All right, so we're looking at defendant's exhibit 4, and you had talked about some photos that you had earlier, and you had taken photos of like the sign and the mailbox leading up to it. Do you remember that approach, the photos of the approach to the restaurant?
Yes, the evidence deputy took them.
Okay, and then there is a telephone pole right, I'm sorry, this one right here. Do you see that's right over the truck?
Yes,
Okay. And would you, I'm gonna show you what's, and so this is the direction of which the Cadillac would have been traveling toward, in lane number 1. Is this the northbound or what is this direction?
it's kind of like a northwest direction, I believe.
Okay, so in the northwest direction. And then the black Cadillac, I'm sorry, the black Chevy would have been somewhere around where that silver truck is, correct?
Yes, when it first started.
Okay. And now I'm showing you defendant exhibit 5. And we again see the telephone pole from a different angle, correct?
Correct.
And we see its relationship now as compared to the crossover, right? Right
Yes.
here. And then we also see this is Max's Road,
Yes,
right? And at Max's Road, it has a stop sign.
yes,
Now, part of this parking lot, would you agree with me? There are no barriers that prevent cars from just driving across here to this intersection.
no,
Okay, so it doesn't have any barriers, correct?
correct.
And so based off of your visual of what the black Chevy did, would you agree with me that it started somewhere around that telephone pole and cuts across over to the intersection? To land, is this, let me ask one more time, a different way. Is the AOI, where is the AOI? Is it
I believe it's more to the left where the Max Road is printed.
to here?
Yes,
Okay, so then the black Chevy came all the way from over here to here. Is that correct in his trajectory?
I can't say what its trajectory was.
Well, in watching the video, did he curve to the left?
He moved in that fashion slightly, yes.
Okay, and he started somewhere back at the telephone pole, correct?
I can't be exact on that.
From the video,
From the video, yes.
and thank you for clarifying. So in the video, he starts somewhere from over here, but he doesn't go to the street with the stop sign.
No,
Okay, and so he also never at any point is, before he enters the highway, turned at a 90-degree angle and stopped.
no.
Okay. Now, I'm showing you defendant exhibit 6. And based on your testimony earlier, would you say that that the AOI is somewhere around here? Where do you think
Right around that area
okay, you call it the area
of impact.
impact? Okay, so somewhere around here. And so looking at this angle, then he somehow had to come from back here and come across here. Oops, sorry, that's just a dent. I didn't write on it. Sorry. Would you agree with that? Based on the
I
video.
couldn't tell you what angle he came at.
And I apologize, I'm not asking for the angle. I'm just saying the like he comes around and curves through here to wind up at the
Yes, he
stopping
came through
point.
from the area of the pole.
Okay. And then lastly, this is defendant's exhibit 7 that just shows, would you agree with me, a straight on, head on view of the restaurant, so that now you can see that telephone pole is in the middle of the parking lot.
I would agree that it's an image of the restaurant, but it seems to be canted a little bit. It's not straight on.
Okay, I apologize, but I mean, it's the front view of the
Yes.
restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
Looking toward the restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. In regards to the data and the braking for the Cadillac, looking at that, would you agree that the brakes are applied at 2 seconds before impact?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And that the brakes are not on at 2 seconds before impact for the Chevy.
Correct.
And you have those reports in front?
Yes, ma'am.
And these are true and accurate reports of the data that you pulled from the cars?
Yes, this is Cadillac and this is the Chevy.
And these are your calculations?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I'm asking that States Exhibit C, D, E, F, and G all be admitted.
No objection.
All right. States exhibits. C, D, and E are admitted. Did you say F as well?
Yes.
Or no?
Yes, I did.
All right, and F is admitted without objection.
I think she said G also.
All right, and G. Thank you.
Great. And then, were you responsible for drafting the Texas Department of Transportation's crash report?
No, I was not.
Okay, and, but you were at the scene on January 22nd, 2025, correct?
Correct.
And you would agree with me that Samuel was not arrested or charged with manslaughter that day?
No, ma'am.
And, that the duty, under transportation 545.155 for vehicles entering a highway from a private roadway road or driveway, is that they shall yield right of way, correct?
Correct.
I pass the witness.
All right, state, any questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor. So Sergeant Shannon, you stated to the defense counsel that you didn't do the calculations from the point that the Chevy entered the intersection. Why is that?
Because it's impossible for me to tell exactly and to be exact of that path. And so I want to be as accurate as I can be.
Okay. Now, regarding, you stated that you didn't forensically map the starting point of that black Chevy Equinox, is that correct?
Correct.
And so at the time that you were at the scene, you stated that you had not had the responsibility of taking witness statements, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so you didn't really have knowledge at that time about any directions of travel, is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so you, without having that information, couldn't map the starting point of the Chevy, is that fair to say?
Correct.
Okay, now, and speaking about the right of way, I know that we talked about that earlier on direct, and you stated that it is something that you considered in your calculations, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so are you familiar in the transportation code under section 541.401? Right of way is defined as the right of one vehicle to proceed in a lawful manner.
Correct.
Okay, and so if somebody was driving at 39 miles per hour over the speed limit, is that a lawful manner?
No, it was not.
Okay, and so if we are talking about the defendant being let go from the scene on the day, do you know why that is?
Because I did not know the speed at the time that that vehicle was traveling.
Okay, and so you all chose to not make an arrest without having all of the evidence, is that correct?
Correct.
And so at that point, there was still a lot of outstanding evidence that needed to be retrieved and analyzed, right?
Correct.
Okay, including that airbag control module, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so if we are talking about driving, I mean, the speed limit exists for a reason, right?
Correct.
But because when you get in your motor vehicle, I mean, there's a whole bunch of risks in just operating a motor vehicle, right?
Yes.
And hazard can come out of anywhere at any time, right?
Correct.
And so that is the purpose of having the speed limit, right? To affect reaction times and try to prevent tragedy, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so if we are talking about, you know, the lack of arrest on the date of the offense, at that point, you didn't have enough evidence to determine whether the defendant was a sufficient cause, is that fair to say?
Yes.
But after you received the airbag control module data and you were able to analyze that, that information confirmed and established guilt in this case, right?
Yes, ma'am. It met the elements.
Okay, and so speed was a major factor in this crash. The
Yes.
speed of the silver Cadillac, right?
Yes.
And so if we are looking at state exhibit number 21, I believe. That shows your calculations and your findings, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so let's just talk about, had you done the math at 2 seconds, someone that is traveling at 104 miles per hour is not going to stop, is not going to.
Objection leading.
Let me hear the question and then I will hear your objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, so if somebody is traveling at 104 miles per hour, what type of reaction is going to occur if they apply their brakes 2 seconds out? Are they going to be able to stop?
No.
Okay, and speed's a major contributing factor there, right?
Yes, I believe at 104, they're traveling 152 feet per second.
Okay, and so somebody that would have been traveling at the speed limit 65 miles per hour or even 5 over at 70 miles per hour, they're going to be able to come to a stop easier than somebody traveling at 104 miles per hour. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then just speaking about the distance that was traveled in that 5 seconds prior to the impact, is 688 feet, correct?
Yes,
And so the fact does not change that had somebody been traveling at 65 miles per hour or even 70 miles per hour, no matter what the driving pattern of that Chevy black Equinox, it would have been able to make it across,
Objection
correct?
leading.
All right, the objection to leading will be sustained.
Okay, so if somebody was traveling at 65 miles per hour or 70 miles per hour, would the black Chevy Equinox been able to clear that intersection?
at 65, I would say yes. At 70, it was a good possibility.
Okay, and that was not a possibility with somebody traveling 104 miles per hour, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and at the 65 mile per hour and 70 mile per hour calculation, the driving facts of the black Chevy Cadillac, no matter what bizarre pattern they were taking, would they have been able to clear that intersection?
Yes,
Okay. And I just want to talk to you, so I know that you weren't the lead investigator on this case, but it was stated on cross-examination that the phone records for Mr. Dominguez were not obtained, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, and they weren't obtained for the defendant either, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and regarding the infotainment center, would that have given any additional information as to speed?
No,
Okay. And you've reviewed all the evidence in this case, and any of the questions that defense counsel has asked you, does that change your analysis or opinion in any way?
no.
We pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense?
No further questions.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
He is excused by the state, Your Honor.
Subject to recall.
All right, just make sure you're available if either party wishes to recall you, and if you'll remove your microphone, please. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a 15-minute recess. Please remember my previous instructions to you. Everything that you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. In, please. All right, everyone, please be seated. And state if you'll call your next witness.
The state calls Investigator Calendar.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that everyone can hear. And if you could state your name and spell your last name, please.
Sure. Curtis Calendar, Callender.
All right, state you may proceed.
Investigator Calendar, how are you currently employed?
Currently employed by the Bear County Sheriff's Office as an investigator.
And are you a certified police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been with the sheriff's office?
10.5 years.
And can you explain to the jury, any training training that you underwent to become a deputy with the sheriff's office?
I came to the Sheriff's Office certified with 5 years of experience in another law enforcement agency. I went through the Sheriff's Academy, fulfilled whatever it was they wanted from us, more training, graduated and started on patrol in 2015.
Okay, and so can you just explain to the jury the trajectory of your career from patrol as an investor? What is your current responsibility?
I'm an investigator still. I'm assigned to the organized crime division with a primary emphasis on auto theft investigations.
Okay, and can you explain to the jury the trajectory of your career from patrol to your position now?
Sure. Started off working East Patrol, or regular taking calls for service on the east part of Bear County. Eventually I went to the traffic unit. I worked DWI enforcement for several years. Probably did 300 or so DWIs. We were responsible for crashes, both fatality and non, both criminal and non. And then in 2018, I promoted to the rank of investigator. Worked on night crimes for a bit, just taking regular calls overnight. I went to the auto theft unit for several years. And then I did a brief stint in the traffic homicide investigation unit. After that, I went back to auto theft, and that's where I'm at now still.
Okay, and what does the promotional process look like within the sheriff's office?
It's civil service, pretty standard. You take a written test, make sure you have, you can pass competency checks on criminal law, traffic laws, crime scene type stuff, just to make sure that, you know a little bit about what you're gonna do. Assuming you pass, you move on to what we have, it's called an internal review board. And you have an interview with various ranking members of the sheriff's office and some outside folks. And once your scores are totaled up, they put you on a list. And depending on where you rank on the list, depends on if and when you promote. I happened to be number 1 that year, so I promoted within 2 weeks, but that's our typical process.
Okay, now were you employed as an investigator with the traffic homicide unit between the dates of January 25th, 2022 and March 1st of 2022?
Definitely in January. I left the unit, not sure exactly when. It might have been around March sometime. I don't have the exact date.
And on January 25th, were you assigned to do follow-up investigation on a case under 22-BCSO-001585?
Yes, I was assigned to that case.
Okay, and were you working alone or with a partner?
With a partner,
And who was that partner?
Trace Shannon.
Okay, and so during this time in January, had you been newly promoted to that unit?
Yeah, I transferred to that unit. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so Sergeant Shannon, was he like training you or what was going on at that time?
Yeah, so now Sergeant Shannon, then Investigator Shannon was the senior investigator for that unit. vast amount of time in that unit and experience. So he was the senior investigator that was training me, who was new to the unit.
Second judge. Do you need a cough drop? Okay, sorry, Megan.
Okay, and so, Investigator Shannon was training you, and so did you all make this scene, or did you guys receive a call or respond to a call on that day?
Yes,
Okay, and did you make the scene to that call?
yes,
And that was under the case number, 2022-BCSO-001585, correct?
yes.
Okay, and so can you just describe, what the scene location was to the jury?
Scene was on US Highway 181 South. Kind of like if you're heading towards Floresville area. On the northbound side is where crash occurred. There's a Mexican restaurant there called Candela's. And so on the Candela side, northbound side, we had a vehicle, a black Traverse that was wrecked out into the median, and we had a silver Cadillac SUV nearby it, where they had recently collided. And we had a large amount of skid marks and debris and stuff like that.
Okay, and so you're dispatched out there for that fatality crash, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and, that location that you described, the highway, is it a public place?
yes,
Okay, and it's located in Bear County, Texas.
yes.
And so I know you've already described the skid marks, what steps were taken to, I guess, control the area and preserve evidence, if you know?
We had units out there, marked patrol units with red and blue flashing lights on, your typical cop cars everywhere. I think we actually had help from TxDOT as well to help us with traffic control, making sure no vehicles entered the lane because it is a highway.
Okay, and were you able, you described the vehicles, but were you able to observe those vehicles that were involved in the collision?
Yes.
Okay, can you describe the type of crash that occurred?
In terms of,
I mean, like, was it a T-bone crash or rear end?
it appeared as though it would be like what we refer to as a T-bone crash. One vehicle impacted the other one on the driver's side door.
Okay, and were you able to observe damage to either vehicle?
Yes.
Do you recall what that was?
There was extensive damage to the Traverse. And there was extensive front end damage to the silver SUV as well.
Okay, and so as an investigator, when you made the scene and observed the scene, were you notified of any witnesses or possible witnesses on scene?
Yes, the deputies on scene said that several witnesses had stopped, were willing to give statements about what they observed. And so I had the deputies collect the written statements, but I spoke to the witnesses that were still there verbally as well.
Okay, and without describing what those witnesses told you, was their rendition of what they observed all consistent with each other?
Yes,
Okay, and so those witness statements you said were obtained and preserved in the case file, is that correct?
correct.
Okay. Now, while you were on scene, did you make contact with the driver of the silver Cadillac?
Yes, briefly.
Okay, do you observe him in court today?
Yes, I believe that's him to the right. It's been several years, but I believe that's the defendant.
Okay, will you please identify him by an article of clothing he's wearing?
Blue shirt, black blazer.
Okay. And I guess when you made contact with the defendant, do you recall where you were initially?
I was on scene. I think he was seated in a patrol unit.
Okay, well, I guess, do you remember if you detained him at some point?
He was placed in the rear of the patrol unit, not free to go. I didn't handcuff him or anything like that sort.
Okay, and did he speak with you at some point?
Yeah, we spoke briefly before he was released, once I was done with the scene.
Okay, and can you just explain to the jury what is the difference between someone being detained versus arrested?
Yeah, so if you're detained, that's typically where you're not free to leave the scene, right? The police are telling you you can't go. But it does not mean you're under arrest yet. If you're under arrest, we'll typically tell you, hey, you're under arrest. And then there's a procedure that follows. So it's very common for a variety of situations that people might be detained. They're just not free to leave, whether that's in handcuffs or not.
Okay. And so you stated you spoke with the defendant while he was in the back of the patrol vehicle, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that patrol vehicle, was it equipped with a recording device?
Yes.
Okay, and did that recording device capture your conversation with the defendant?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 22. I'm taking it out of its white envelope. Can you take a look at that for me?
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
Yes, my initials are on it.
Have you viewed the contents of that?
I have.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the defendant in the back of the patrol vehicle and your conversation with him?
Yes.
At this time, the state offers State's Exhibit 22, and we are also offering State's Exhibit number 23 and tendering both to defense for inspection.
No objection.
All right, States Exhibit 22 and 23 are admitted into evidence without objection.
Permission to publish.
Granted.
What's the last name, sir?
Bach.
I'm sorry?
Bach, B-O-C-K.
Oh, Bach, okay. First name?
Samuel, S-A.
where's the drive? UEL?
2 M's, U-E-L.
Oh, okay. Which date of birth?
07/05/03.
Still on Stewart Road?
Yes.
You verify your social form, oh, you don't have it on here.
I might have a picture of it,
You what?
my social.
Oh, don't worry, if we need, we'll get it later. What, copy thing? You get back to working. He didn't handcuff you, right?
No, sir.
Okay, alright. I'm gonna go up here, take care of some business, hang out here, it's warm, okay?
I'm curious, why do you ask if he handcuffed me?
Because I didn't see him put you in my car and be handcuffed and I'll walk off and they're cutting circulation off your wrist, that's on me.
I was like, I
I'm
didn't think I
just
was
making
gonna be impressed.
Apologies, I'm gonna pause the State's Exhibit at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. So the individual that we hear speaking currently, that's speaking to the defendant, that's not you, correct?
Correct.
That's Deputy Tribal, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we're resuming State's Exhibit.
I was arrested.
You're not, but you are not free to go.
Okay.
There's a difference between detained and arrested.
What am I-
Detained just means you're not free to leave to finish the investigation. If you're under arrest, we tell you you're under arrest and you're going to jail.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Hey,
If
man.
someone's dead. You understand that?
Yeah.
So we have to investigate. We can't just say, all right, man, have a good day, and then it turns out later that it's something you did wrong.
Okay.
Egg on our face,
I get that.
okay? So you're not under arrest. You're just detained.
That was just-
Investigating a fatality crash. Once we're done, if there ain't nothing on your end, you're out of here, free to go home.
We're just
Okay.
checking.
All right, just relax. Okay,
Trying
I'm not gonna turn the heater on because it's already gonna get warm just with the front one going. So you'll be okay, all right?
Thank you. I'm sorry.
And just for purposes of the record, I'm going to fast forward as there's no speeding at this portion of the exhibit.
Yo, I scraped on my wrist there just a little bit, but I'm able to move it and everything. I feel fucked up. And the seatbelt grabbed into my stomach pretty good, but other than that, I feel okay. I'm in the back of a fucking cop car. Sorry. That's what I am. Yeah. I think he's talking to some of the other cops. I believe I was on the speed limit, wasn't going very fast. Right here, it was the person I hit was on the shoulder, and I was coming down in the left lane, just going down the road. There was nobody in front of me. There wasn't really many people behind me either. And the car just cut me off, like, all bad. Like, there was no way I could have stopped or moved or anything. They just straight up got in front of me. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it where they're parked, but there's two long ass black lines where I locked up the brakes. They weren't in Candelas, they were sitting on the shoulder. I guess they were either on their phone or just they couldn't see me, but I wasn't looking directly at my speed when I crashed. So. But I believe I was going the speed limit. Well, I didn't really have any time to lock up the brakes, honestly. By the time she was in front of me, I locked up the brakes and there wasn't much time. I feel really bad. I think, one person, I don't know where he went, but he calmed me down after it happened and talked to me. But I think, I don't think so. He didn't say it. No, because and I didn't know if I had health insurance, so what? Strong. Oh, they're coming over here right now.
That's better. All right, here. What's your phone? All right. Different truck. All right.
Okay, and I'm fast forwarding to exhibit 22 to 18 minutes and 20 seconds.
They just. That's the thing, they could like the eyes as like. Soft, it's like I'm not. Either was constant. You all right? This one, all right. Your ID and stuff in the car, Samuel? No, sir, I have it on me.
You don't have it on you?
I have it on me.
Oh, you have it on you?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, all right.
Would you like it?
No, okay, that's your infrared. Grandma, know you got the car? Okay. Maybe sure. If I roll silly to let you go and get stolen the car.
No, I've been borrowing it.
Where's your friend up north live?
I don't know, good reference point.
I mean, like way up north, like closer to Comal County or Guadalupe County, or like just north here?
Yeah, let me give you a better, let me give you something you can work with.
No, I was just curious. More curiosity than anything else.
I'm just horrible with maps. I'd say Universal City. Elmo Heights area.
All right.
That's for me. to 29 minutes and 54 seconds.
Your grandma right here, right? You have a phone on? Yeah, buddy. Who owns the car?
I'm not sure whose name it's in, but I think it's in my grandmother's.
Alright. Daniel, same good number for you.
210.
Okay, am I cutting loose? Copy, grandparents are here, we'll talk and see what's the car. Real quick, if you're here. Stephanie Bach and John Allen Bach.
Okay, I'm fast forwarding to the 22 to 44.
Thanks, so. Just find it.
Okay, so I paused the state's exhibit. That voice that we're hearing speaking to the defendant, is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, be careful. You've been driving, you're not, what this guy doing? He was on the shoulder on this side of the road.
Like where the police car is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was cruising down the left lane and cut me off right here and I just walked up the brake.
Pulled out in front of you?
Yeah.
And you were in the number one?
Yeah.
That fast lane?
Yeah.
Okay.
He cut me off, I locked up the brakes and then just switching. Okay, there's no way.
Right, I understand. Okay. All right, well, you're free to go. We got your info. Yeah, he has a question for you, okay?
Did you say the shoulder, was it facing that way or was it facing this way? He was facing straight on.
What did your opinion, was it more of a U-turn or a left turn? I was fast.
It was a little fast, but I would say probably he was going into the left lane to turn around, go that way.
Cool. Stationary, left turn. Pretty fast.
Was sitting still and then hold it.
Yeah, pretty good, man. Watch your green light. Be in touch, you need to tell me anything, you can order.
Okay, and so investigator calendar, there are certain examinations that can be conducted on a suspect to determine whether they have been under the influence of alcohol, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and one of those tests is the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, correct?
Correct.
And you know if the defendant in this case was evaluated for intoxication or impairment,
Yes, he was.
and he was not, or the test, what were the results of the test?
There was no detected HGN.
Okay, and I'm gonna play Stacy Exhibit number 23.
Hey, Sam, sit by here for a second. Just stand right here and put your back against the wall, this is fine. Comfortable? Did you put it in your pocket, Perry, if you want this? All right, I'm Deputy Trevor with the traffic office, okay? I'm gonna ask you some questions, okay, because the nature of what we're talking about, there's a dead body. Okay, we gotta be as thorough as possible, you understand that, right? Okay. Okay. Questions. These are not judgment questions. I hold no judgments on people, okay? I have no room to judge anybody. These are merely fact finding as part of the investigation, okay? Have we had any head injuries recently? No head injuries, you know, cracked your nugget, fallen, hit anything, okay? Diabetic? Epileptic? Are you diagnosed with anything medical wise? Bad hip, bad knees, bad neck, you got diverticulitis, you got a bad heart, nothing? Are you under the care of a doctor for anything at all? Okay. Take any medication? No medication of any kind, not prescribe anything, over the counter, Benadryl, Sudafed, nothing? Okay. Do you smoke weed? Not a judgment, okay? As long as you're not standing right in front of me ripping off a fat one, I really don't care. Okay, it's just asking, okay. Was that somebody anything to drink alcohol wise? Okay, where were you heading?
It's at my buddy's house over the first thing.
Okay. All right, what happened?
So the other driver was on the shoulder right here. I was coming down to anyone from this direction and they were straight coming out.
He didn't come out from the across the street? So he was, hold on, so he was parked like on the shoulder facing that way?
I don't believe he was parked, but he wasn't moving. He was facing this way. So
Like off here though, on this side of the fog line. So let's me explain how roadway works. Lane one is the far lane, lane two, shoulder.
yeah,
So he was on this side of the shoulder?
shoulder, yes.
You don't know if he was moving or not?
It didn't look like he was moving. He was stationary and then coming, and I guess he didn't see me or was on his phone or something and just pulled right.
Just
in front of me.
pulled.
So I locked up the brakes and
Did it look like he was trying to get across to the turnaround?
I think that's what he was doing.
Okay, what lane were you in? There's lane one, lane two,
And
the far lane?
Yeah.
Okay, how fast do you think you were going?
I think I've been going on this. I just lost it in that.
Okay, alright. So, Deputy Garrett, you checked your eyes earlier, yeah, with the light? Yes, okay, I'm gonna do it again. Okay. And it's nothing personal, but with consistency with officers, he saw what he saw, now I'm gonna see what I see. Okay, let me tell you what I'm looking for before I start, okay? I'm looking for any signs of anything that impairs you, narcotics or alcohol, okay? It doesn't have to just be alcohol that impairs somebody, it can be Benadryl, it could be Sudafed, that's about your aspirin, it could be Xanax, it could be benzene, hey, name a drug. Everybody reacts with different interests, okay? My job is to find out, if you're stone cold sober, then you're stone cold sober, it's crashing, it sucks, is what it is, okay? If you're not, then we have a different problem. Okay, you understand how that works? Okay. So I'm gonna do the same thing he did. This, what color is that light? Okay. It's gonna go across the front of your eyes like this several times, and it's gonna go up. The only thing moves your eyes. Don't, just like mine, watch my eyes as I do. I'm not turning my head.
No, I think last time I moved my head up, but it went out of my vision.
That's fine, that's fine. Just hear what I'm telling you, okay?
Yes, sir.
As soon as your eyes and your eyes open, don't lift your head up, don't turn it left or right. If you do, I'll say, hey, straight your head, and we'll start over. It's not a big deal. It won't cause you any pain, it won't hurt you. It's fair enough. Stand up straight, put your kid like this. Arm down by your sides. Here, separate in the toggle. You can't lean against anything. Okay, there you go, just like that. All right. With your eyes and your eyes alone, you're gonna follow that light no matter where it goes. If it goes that way, you follow it that way. Sorry. I'll have to tighten your eyes. Okay, look straight that way. I know it's right. It's supposed to be.
Make my eyes water. It's like a chemo pit.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be. I'm checking people their reaction, which is normal.
What about me?
Yeah. No reaction. I know it's bright. It's supposed to be bright. At night I can use the blind suspect, so they can't see me. All right. Can you see this still? Point to it with your finger. All right, good deal. Put your hands down by your sides. Flat against your sides. You stay in this position like a statue. Don't even move your eyes. Fair enough? All right. Whose car is that you're driving?
I believe it's my grandmother's name, but it's my grandmother's.
It's grandparents. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, they're here. know it's uncomfortable, but you can't do it, okay?
Yeah, it's just my eyes still trying to adjust from that. So like,
It's all right.
was doing pretty good.
No, you're doing just fine, okay? If you would, I'd tell you, all right?
Yes.
You need to blink, you can blink, blinking's okay. Just follow with your eyes, you can blink if you have to.
Okay, wish my head basically.
But just don't wonder. Just don't wonder. It's your eyes. Tell you with your girlfriend, you wear sunglasses and a cute chick walk by, you can't move your head, you can move your eyes, because they can hear those neck muscles moving.
Makes sense.
Look at that. You can blink while we're doing this, that's all, you can blink. Sorry. This is, well, now don't lift your chin, okay? Okay, so, all right, I can still see your eyes. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not getting what. Good. Good. Excellent, goes on to the. Okay. All right, go ahead and see. There we go.
Okay, Investigator Calendar. And so, after you speak with the defendant on scene, I guess at some point did the ME, the medical examiner's office come and take custody of Mr. Carlos's body?
Yes.
Okay, and who did the notification to the Mexican regarding, Mr. Diaz's death?
I believe we spoke to him the following day, but
Okay, so that would have been you speaking with who?
his son.
Okay, and where did both of the vehicles go from the crime scene, once you guys wrapped the scene up?
They were towed and stored at Mel Davis, which is our long-term storage facility for evidentiary items.
Okay, and is that the secure location out there on Donovan Road?
Yes.
Okay, and I guess while you were working in conjunction with Investigator Shannon, what were his duties on scene, if you recall?
Investigator Shannon's?
Yes.
He forensically mapped the scene using devices we have to capture data to later reflect what it was, the scene was like out there. He does measurements, markings, all those things to capture what happened that day.
Okay, and so we see in exhibit 22 that you informed the defendant that he was free to go from the scene, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and why did you let him go from the scene on that day?
He was not under arrest.
Okay, and why did you not arrest him on that day?
There was no probable cause existing at the time. There was no evidence at the time suggesting that a crime had been committed at that exact moment. So we're not gonna arrest somebody if we don't have all the proper facts and evidence needed.
Okay, and so at that point in time, basically all you had was the statements from the defendant that we just observed, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so he informed Deputy Treadwell that he couldn't have been going more than 70 miles per hour, right?
I believe so.
Okay, and I guess you did have witness statements, but did you identify any other additional evidence that needed to be seized and examined?
Yeah, so I conferred with Trey Shannon, who was the senior on site, and he said that at a different date and time, we would need to analyze the airbag control module that records speed and data.
Okay, and I guess, did you ever go inside of the Mexican restaurant Candela's?
Yes.
And I guess, did they have cameras or?
Yeah, upon reviewing of my body worn camera, when I spoke to the waitresses up front, they said they would contact management to get access to that.
Okay, and so did you obtain the video evidence that we have? of the
Yeah,
offense?
Eventually it was obtained, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I'm gonna publish Stacy exhibit number 2. And so if we're looking at it, at the top right here, it looks like this is a screen, is that fair to say?
Yes,
Okay, and so was another device used to record off of the screen, located inside the candelas?
not exactly sure, but I mean, obviously it appears it was reported from their monitor.
Okay, and so I guess did the sheriff's office have issues, I guess, trying to download it from the system, or what happened with that?
I recall the owner providing it to us. Again, it's been several years, so I don't want to misstate something. But typically in that situation, if there's an issue with extracting it on site, the owners will provide it to us digitally. So I believe that was the case with this situation here.
Okay, and so I guess to your knowledge, is there any other, like, video from before or after, this season number 2?
I would assume they have a live feed, or I don't know what it.
Well, I'm not asking you to
I understand.
that you obtained.
Oh, no, I only obtained footage of the crash that was relevant to our investigation.
Okay, and so that's the video that we're looking at right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so I guess on January 27th of 2022, did you and investigator Shannon go out to that secure storage facility?
Yes.
Okay, and was there someone that met you there?
Yes.
Who was that?
The owners of the vehicle, silver Cadillac.
Okay, and did you obtain consent from them to gather the airbag control module data?
Yes.
Alright, and did they stay there during the entire download?
Yes.
Okay, and who did that download?
Trace Shannon.
Okay. Did investigator Shannon provide you with analysis of the data that he obtained from that vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And did you also, in your review of the case, review the video, see exhibit number 2? Well, let me publish. If you can't see the screen directly in front of you, feel free to turn around and use the big screen, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and so in viewing state exhibit number 2, did you review this video while you were working the case?
Yes.
And what are some significant observations that you made regarding state exhibit number 2?
It appeared as though, just based on the impact and the fact that the silver vehicle continued on through that impact, it appeared as though that was a very intense, possibly high-speed crash.
Okay, and what about, are you able to hear anything on there that's significant to you?
The impact, I mean, you can hear the impact of the vehicles colliding.
And were you able to observe the driving pattern of that black Chevy Equinox? Or the black Chevy and Stacy's exhibit number 2?
Yes, like I've seen the video where the vehicle pulls out
Okay.
in the roadway.
Was there anything like bizarre or notable about this path of travel to you?
No.
And based on everything that you learned, reviewing the data and the analysis that Trace Shannon did on the airbag control module, reviewing the video, reviewing statements and everything else, what was the result of your investigation?
That speed was a factor in this crash, deeming it reckless.
Okay, and so, based on your analysis and investigation, did you have probable cause to believe the defendant committed an offense?
Yes.
And what offense was that?
Manslaughter.
And why is that?
I'm sorry,
Why is that?
because the penal code states that, if there is determined to be recklessness, during a situation that results in the death of another, that statute applies.
Okay. And so ultimately, did you submit this case to the DA's office for prosecution?
I did
And for what offense was that?
manslaughter.
Okay. We pass it, Mr. Honor.
Defense?
Yes, thank you. Okay,
Can you turn your mic on, please, Miss? Oh, the table, the table.
it's on, it's just far from me, sorry. Okay, so. You know, you seem to be singularly focused on speed. Let me shift your attention for a second to Carlos Dominguez.
Okay.
Would you agree with me that there was no actions taken to talk to anybody in the restaurant to determine what his behavior was before he left the restaurant, correct?
Correct. I didn't speak to anybody about Mr. Dominguez.
If he was exhibiting any kind of medical issues or unsure on his feet or just not acting himself, you didn't think to ask those questions, did you?
I didn't ask those questions. I mean, they knew why we were in there. Nobody brought any major crazy information to me, but I did not directly ask. No, ma'am.
And so you don't know if he regularly goes there or not, do you?
I do not.
Did you obtain his cell phone records that day?
No.
And you didn't, there's an infotainment center in vehicles now, modern vehicles, that will allow you to talk on your phone while you're driving, correct?
Yeah. Modern vehicles, I believe they are equipped with a lot of technology.
And according to, is it, Investigator Shannon? What does he go by?
He's a sergeant now?
Sergeant Shannon?
Yes, ma'am.
He says that there is that Bear County Sheriff's Office has the ability to download that information currently, correct?
Yeah, we have a program called Burla, but you have to be certified to operate that. I'm not. I don't know if he was at the time.
But you still have the vehicle in y'all's possession, correct?
Correct.
And if you could have done this prior to this trial, you could have run the information and obtained that information. There's nothing preventing.
I can't personally. Somebody in that unit that's certified could certainly have done that if they chose to do so.
Yeah, and when someone passes it's a fatal traffic accident, there are certain protocols that come into play, correct? I mean, like it's you take more serious steps or more you should take more care to make sure you're obtaining all the information possible so that you can make a decision on the evidence, like present the evidence to the prosecutor so they can make a good decision on it, correct?
As a general rule, I would think, yeah, I would agree with that.
So in your summary of this case, you noted that Mr. Dominguez had medication prescriptions in his vehicle.
Yes,
Okay,
there's a prescription bottle.
and did you take photos of that?
I think crime scene may have. I don't take the photos of those scenes.
Did you make a list of evidence that needed to be considered?
In what fashion or what evidence? I mean, I don't know
What prescription was it? Do you know?
I don't know. That was multiple years ago. I haven't reviewed those photographs.
Well, you would agree with me that nowhere in your report do you note down that you investigated any of the prescriptions that he was on.
No, I did not know.
Because if someone is intoxicated or impaired and they're entering a highway, they can be considered at fault, correct?
Sure.
And so you basically, well, let me ask you this. When did you send your report to the district attorney's office?
I believe it was March. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw a notation on that on my report management system that it was March, maybe March 1st. But there should be a record somewhere digitally.
I'm showing you this in marked as defendant's exhibit 9. Do you recognize that?
It appears to be my investigative summary.
Okay, and by looking at it, are you able to refresh your recollection as to when you submitted your report?
So it says, offense time and date of this report says 2/21/2022. So I'm not sure. Is that what you're asking? What date?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it help refresh your recollection as to when you would have sent your report?
I would feel more comfortable seeing the electronic submission to the DA's office, that we do online. That would be a more factual representation or accurate representation.
Okay. All right. But it was, when you wrote your summary report on February 21st, 2022, you had completed your investigation, correct?
Correct.
All right. And, so we are in now August of 2025, and you would agree with me that that's 2.5 years later, no, 3.5 years later.
Correct.
Okay, and so there's been ample time for law enforcement or the district attorney's office to go look into what was going on with Mr. Dominguez at that time, correct?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if I may say, I didn't smell any odor of intoxicants on his deceased body, but I understand what you're saying as well.
Did you inventory the car?
I really don't remember.
Okay, would it help to refresh your recollection by looking at your summary?
I could try if it's in there.
Would you agree with me that it'd be important to know what might be distracting a person or an indication of what medications they might be on if we had inventoried the car?
I mean, to a degree, but if it was noted, I mean, we both agreed that there was prescriptions in there, right? I don't know what else. Before the vehicles are impounded, deputies do inventories. So I'm not sure if somebody else noted anything else. But I wasn't made aware of anything else beyond his wallet with ID and prescription medication that helped us try to figure out who he was.
Okay, but you know specifically doctor's prescriptions, but you don't tell, nowhere is it documented what prescriptions you.
Correct. I failed to include it in my report. Yes, ma'am.
And you're not a doctor, correct?
I am not.
All right, and so you don't know whether those prescriptions would have, because you didn't list them, you're not able to determine whether they would have impaired him or not, or even potentially made him intoxicated.
I don't know what medications he was on.
And so in addition to that, would you agree with me that you didn't request his medical records at any point?
I did not. I left the unit at some point, so.
And so based off of that, you have no indication of whether or not he could have suffered a cardiac arrest or any kind of other health condition, kidney failure that may have resulted in him collapsing shortly before this incident.
No object as to speculation.
Right, that'll be sustained.
Now, let's back up to your comment that you said, I didn't smell any intoxicants, but you would agree with me that prescription medication is not necessarily going to have any odor that would indicate whether someone was impaired through it.
Oh, yeah, correct. Obviously, I was referring to like alcoholic beverages that I didn't smell any on him because you had asked about me asking about his interactions in the restaurant. But agreed, medications may not leave an odor.
And then in y'all's protocol, the witnesses that were there at the scene were all congregated together, correct?
I don't know.
So you didn't, one of the protocols, when you do your investigation, would you agree, is to keep the witnesses separated?
Depending on the situation, it's a good practice.
And the reason why is because you don't want one particular person's view of it tainting another person's view, correct?
That could be a good general idea, yeah.
All right. And did you review the video footage in this instance to determine whether or not the witnesses were interviewed all at once together?
Which video are you referring to?
I apologize. It's State Exhibit 1.
I don't, which one is that?
It is the video of Officer Garcia. Sorry. Garcia? Officer Garcia.
I don't recall if I watched it or not. I have seen my own. I know I spoke to them individually. But I know that they were asked, the deputies, I asked them to obtain written statements.
Okay, but he also spoke with them. Are you aware of that?
Who?
The deputy, Garcia.
I would assume he did.
And so if they're all standing there together speaking with him, then y'all didn't separate the witnesses from each other while they were investigated.
Yeah, I can't attest to what goes on before we get there. So that might happen, unfortunately, sometimes before we get there and take control.
Let's talk about the EMTs. There were emergency medical technicians on scene, correct?
I believe Acadian, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you obtain those records?
I don't believe so.
Did
For the
you,
defendant or for the decedent? I don't know if they ran a strip on him or not, but
either way,
no, I didn't.
did you interview the emergency medical technicians to find out if they observed anything?
I don't
I'm
believe.
gonna object because since records have been tendered to her, whether it was.
Objection, Your Honor.
obtained or not.
That is, one, it's a speaking objection, and that's not an objection to my question.
All right, what is the objection?
Well, I'm gonna object as to misleading the jury.
Your Honor, I haven't misled the jury. I asked him, did he obtain those records?
All right, can you answer that? Are you able to answer that question?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, if you'll answer the question.
I did not obtain those records.
Okay, and did you interview the emergency medical technicians on the scene?
No.
Now, you would agree with me that in regards to the HGN, the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, that is used by officers to determine if there are signs of intoxication, correct?
Correct.
And there were no indications of intoxication with Samuel at the scene.
Correct.
And he is not being charged with intoxication manslaughter.
No, ma'am.
All right, now, probable cause, probable cause is the standard at which someone, the level of proof needed to issue a warrant to arrest somebody, correct?
Correct.
It is far lower than the standard that's needed in this court for beyond a reasonable doubt. Would you agree?
No object as to relevance and being in the province of the jury.
Right, that would be sustained.
Well, it's a lower standard, correct?
Calling for legal conclusion, Your Honor.
The objection to calling for a legal conclusion will be overruled.
What is the question? Sorry.
It's a lower standard than beyond a reasonable doubt.
Oh.
Probable cause is a lower standard than beyond a reasonable doubt.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
And let's talk about the restaurant at Candela again. Like, so you're there on the day of the accident, and you say you do go into the restaurant and you talk to waitresses.
Yeah, I went in and asked them about the camera system. If they had cameras, I think I noticed there was a camera on the exterior. So I said, hey, I noticed y'all have cameras, I believe. Somebody have access to them, or can somebody help us get that footage?
So how many cameras did you notice?
I don't remember. I watched my body cam and I remember telling them, like, I noticed there was a camera that was pointing that direction. Could we get access to the footage?
All right, and so, as an officer, you have subpoena power, correct?
Correct?
And did you subpoena the footage?
No,
And you didn't go to the facility and pull the footage off of their, computer system or their security system?
no. The management was willing to help. He provided us with what we have here today.
Yeah, so that's interesting, because it starts while it looks like the car is already in progress.
I'm gonna object as to, it's not a question, counsel's testifying and argumentative.
Sustained.
I'll rephrase. So would you agree with me that when the video starts, the car appears to be in motion?
I would have to see it again. I don't want to misspeak.
So would you agree with me that it may appear that it's already in motion?
Looks like it from what I can see here.
Okay, so why did you not go back and ask for the part before that to see what was happening? Because, well, let me rephrase. That car, when this video starts, is in the middle of the screen, correct?
I believe so.
A middle of the part, like, of the frame of the video.
I think it was over here somewhere, unless you want to rewind it.
You just go on the first, okay, thank you. So you can see it's in the middle of the frame, correct?
Correct.
So would you agree with me that there appears to be some type of action that would have been captured by this video that isn't included before the car started moving?
I don't.
I'm gonna object to speculation,
Sustained as to speculation.
Okay, well, did you see, Mr. Dominguez get into the car on the video?
No,
And if you don't see the car move out of the parking spot or him get in or the car come into the frame, then you would agree with me, it indicate that there's, we're missing video footage that is before this frame starts.
I think it would be fair to say that there is probably video before that. I don't know what's on it.
And you, after receiving this, you didn't go back to them and say, hey, can I get the footage from the time the black car enters the screen, the frame, or he gets into his car, if it's captured? You didn't ask for any of that.
This is all I have obviously obtained. I don't remember if there was an issue with it or not, to just be honest with you. It's been a long time. But clearly, I that's all I have.
And I understand, but my point is, you took no extra effort at the time to obtain any other video.
I think that'd be your opinion. But you could be right. I just don't remember if there was issues with it or not, or if I could have done better or not. I really don't remember what the circumstances were back in 2022 on this particular case.
Okay. All right, I pass the witness, Your Honor.
No further questions and excuse by state, Your Honor.
Subject to recall.
All right, just make sure you're available for recall.
Yes, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Can I have parties approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
All right, state you may call your next witness.
At this time, the state rests, Your Honor.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is release you for today. And I will have you back here on Monday at 1:30. Now, on Mondays, and Cindy, we can be off the record, on Mondays, the same number of jurors that were here when you were first called up will be here on Monday. So, again, if you arrive by 12:30, there should be parking space for you because people always go off campus for lunch. Remember my previous instructions. You are not allowed to view anything about this trial. You're not to talk to anyone about this trial. You're not to do any investigation. You're not to go to any alleged sites. Everything that you're to know about this case is to come from inside this courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, have a good weekend. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, you may proceed.
We'd ask for a directed verdict in regards to the cause. We believe that it has not been shown that Samuel was the cause of the accident, as well as the fact that his acts were reckless.
All right, state response.
Your Honor, the state has provided at least a scintilla of evidence as to every element that is in the indictment. Regarding the recklessness, I mean, the surrounding circumstances and certainly the act itself tend to prove that. State's exhibit number 2 proves that, as well as additional evidence that we heard from the airbag control module of the defendant's vehicle. And regarding causation, as the court knows, there can be other causes, and so we submitted enough evidence that the defendant was a sufficient cause, and so we ask that you deny the motion.
All right, defense's motion will be denied. And we are off the record. Was defense exhibit number 9? I don't think that was offered. Am I correct?
It was not.
Okay.
It was his summary, the detective
Okay.
summary.
All right, then we can close the record. And if you all will speak with Cindy so we can make sure all of the exhibits that were entered are proper. And you all have a good weekend. What was number
Well,
8?
before you leave, Your Honor,
I mean,